Welcome back, Torari Coin. Value, the place where old pocket change turns into jaw-dropping treasures. Today, we're diving into the world of Lincoln wheat pennies, those small copper coins you've probably seen lying in jars, tucked away in drawers, or handed down from family. But here's the shocker. A handful of these little pennies can be worth not just hundreds or thousands, but in some rare cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard me right, tiny 1-cent pieces that could be life-changing. So buckle up, because you might just discover that the penny sitting in your collection could be a hidden fortune. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, so you never miss the chance to uncover rare coins that could change your life. The first coin we're looking at today is the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, it may not look like much after all. It's just a penny from the post-war years, right? But here's where the story gets fascinating. The year 1946 marked the first full year after World War II, when America was rebuilding and copper production was shifting back from wartime needs. Millions of these pennies were struck, but only a fraction survived in collectible quality. And that's where things start to get exciting. In fine condition, like the one we're looking at here, you can still see Lincoln's profile with clear detail, though the high points on his cheek and jaw show light wear. The wheat ears on the back are visible, but not razor sharp, which is expected for a circulated coin. A coin like this, in fine condition, might only sell for a few dollars today. But don't be fooled, that's just the starting point. Because here's the secret most people don't realize. The 1946 wheat penny hides a world of high-value varieties and errors. Imagine finding one struck on a leftover steel planchet from 1943. Yes, those war-era zinc-coated steel cents sometimes slipped back into production in 1946. A single example of a 1946 struck on steel can easily command over $100,000 at auction, shocking collectors who thought it was just another brown penny. And then there are the double-die errors coins, where Lincoln's date or the motto, "In God We Trust," appears doubled. One dramatic 1946 double-die obverse sold for more than $25,000 because collectors go absolutely crazy for visible, eye-popping errors. Now, raise the stakes. A perfectly preserved 1946 wheat penny graded in mint state red, blazing with that fiery copper luster, can soar into the tens of thousands. In fact, a gem-quality Ms. 67 red 1946 cent has crossed auction blocks for over $35,000. And when you pair high grade with the dramatic mint error, the value skyrockets into the six-figure range. Imagine a coin you could easily dismiss as pocket change suddenly becoming a $450,000 treasure. That's the magic of the Lincoln wheat penny series, ordinary coins hiding extraordinary value. So, when you look at a 1946 penny, don't just think old coin. Think about the history it carries, the rare errors that can turn it into a fortune, and the fact that the tiniest details like doubling, off-center strikes, or even the wrong metal planchet could make this 1-cent coin worth more than a luxury home. Next up, we have the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny. Now at first glance, this one looks rough, worn down from decades of circulation, with Lincoln's profile flattened and the wheat ears on the back faint from use. Most people would look at a coin like this and think it's worth almost nothing. But that's where they'd be wrong, because the 1944 penny has one of the most incredible stories in all of American coin collecting. Here's why. In 1943, during World War II, the U.S. Mint struck pennies in steel coated with zinc instead of copper. This was done to save copper for the war effort. But when 1944 rolled around, production switched back to copper. Here's the shocking twist. A tiny handful of steel planchets, the leftover blanks from 1943, got fed into the presses in 1944. And that accident created one of the rarest, most valuable pennies in U.S. history, the 1944 steel cent. If you have a 1944 penny and it sticks to a magnet, congratulations, you're holding a piece of history worth an absolute fortune. Even in heavily worn condition, one of these 1944 steel pennies can sell for over $100,000. In higher grades, they've shattered records at auction, fetching $350,000, even soaring past the $500,000 mark when pristine examples appear. Think about that for a moment. A coin most people overlook as an old copper penny could secretly be worth more than a Ferrari, but that's not the only variety. The 1944 penny also has dramatic errors. Collectors pay big money for off-center strikes, double dies where the date or liberty appears doubled, and coins struck on foreign planchets. All these have turned up. One 1944 wheat penny struck on a planchet meant for a dime, sold for over $40,000, shocking everyone in the room. Now, let's talk about the common copper version, the one we see most often. In worn condition like this example, it might only bring a few cents to a few dollars. But step up to uncirculated condition, especially those blazing red examples that somehow survived untouched for nearly 80 years, and suddenly you're looking at values in the $10,000 to $20,000 range. At the highest grades, a 1944 red wheat penny has crossed auction blocks for more than $50,000.so. Here's the takeaway. Never dismiss a 1944 penny just because it looks worn out. That tired, beat-up coin in your collection could be hiding a secret. Maybe it's steel. Maybe it's a dramatic error. Maybe it's a rare high-grade survivor. Any one of those could transform it from pocket change into a life-changing payday. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe right now, because in this series, we're uncovering more Lincoln wheat pennies that only look ordinary, but are hiding values so shocking you'll want to check every coin in your house. Moving on, the third coin in our lineup is the 1947D Lincoln wheat penny. Now, this one has a very different look compared to most. Notice that dark, almost black shade across the surface? That's what collectors call natural toning or oxidation. It happens when a coin has been stored for decades in less than perfect conditions, like a damp basement, an old wooden box, or even in a coin jar where air and moisture slowly darken the copper. To most people, this just looks like a dirty, old penny. But believe me, there's more here than meets the eye. The Denver Mint, marked by the little d beneath the date, produced millions of 1947 wheat pennies. So at first, you'd think this coin is common and in fine condition, with Lincoln's portrait visible but worn, and the wheat ears still recognizable, but not sharp. You might expect just a few cents in value. But here's the catch. Certain varieties of the 1947D have shocked collectors and auction houses with jaw-dropping prices. For instance, a dramatic double die obverse where Lincoln's profile and the date show clear doubling can turn a 1947D penny into a $25,000 rarity. Even more thrilling are the coins struck on wrong planchets. A handful of 1947D pennies are known to have been struck on silver dime planchets left over at the mint. Imagine holding a penny that looks thinner, lighter, and silvery, but with Lincoln's design squeezed onto it. One of these unusual mistakes sold for over $100,000, and it doesn't stop there. In high mint state red condition, untouched by circulation, the 1947D wheat penny can leap into the tens of thousands. The highest graded gems, blazing with original copper luster, have crossed the auction block for more than $35,000. Now combine that with a rare error like an off-metal strike or strong double die, and you're suddenly staring at a coin that could hit $500,000 or more. So what about that black shade we see here? Many collectors prefer bright red or red-brown copper pennies, but believe it or not, some dramatic, natural toning deep blues, purples, or even this jet black look can actually increase the desirability of a coin. Toned coins stand out in collections, and when a rare variety shows up with unique, eye-catching toning, the bidding war can get fierce. That means even a worn 1947D penny like this is worth a second look. Because if you find the right error, or if you discover one in pristine, untouched condition, you could be holding a coin worth more than an entire retirement fund. Think about it. A single penny from Denver in 1947, darkened by time, passed through countless hands, yet secretly capable of shocking the market with values well over $450,000. And remember, these stories are exactly why coin collectors never overlook the smallest details. A little D mint mark, A strange shade of color, or a subtle doubling in the design can transform pocket change into a life-changing discovery. Now, let's talk about our fourth coin, the 1955D Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, this one looks rough. The surfaces are heavily worn, Lincoln's portrait is faded, the wheat ears on the reverse are barely hanging on, and years of circulation have taken away its original shine. To the untrained eye, this seems like a throwaway coin, maybe worth only a cent. But here's the truth. The 1955 penny hides one of the most jaw-dropping stories in American numismatics. Most people know about the legendary 1955 double-die penny from the Philadelphia Mint, where the date and lettering look almost doubled in shadow. That coin is one of the most famous errors in U.S. coinage history, with examples selling for $100,000 or more in high grades. But what many collectors overlook is the Denver issue from that same year, the 1955D. While it didn't produce the famous double die, it does have its own secrets. The Denver Mint was known for heavy production, but quality control slipped. That means error. Coins slipped out, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even repunched mint marks. One incredible 1955D with the dramatic repunched D, where the mint mark looks doubled, sold for thousands of dollars. Add in a high-grade, red uncirculated condition, and suddenly this penny rockets into the five-figure range. But here's where the real shock comes. Some 1955D pennies were struck on leftover foreign planchets, blanks meant for other countries' coins that were being minted at the Denver facility. Imagine a 1955D wheat penny struck on a thinner, coin blank. One of these bizarre off-metal errors brought more than $40,000 at auction, and collectors know that if a dramatic example surfaces again in pristine condition, the bidding could skyrocket to $500,000 or beyond. Now, the coin we're looking at is in bad condition. On the open market, that might only bring a few cents or maybe a couple of dollars if someone wants it for a filler in a collection. But never, ever dismiss a coin based on condition alone. If this worn piece happened to show a rare error like an off-center strike where part of the design is missing, or a bold repunched D mint mark even in bad shape, collectors will line up to pay big money. And here's another surprise. Toning, damage, and circulation don't always erase value. Some collectors actually love coins that look raw and original, especially if they carry a historic error or rarity. That means even this rough 1955D could, under the right circumstances, turn into a shocking discovery. So what makes the Lincoln Wheat Penny series so thrilling? It's the fact that a coin like this, beat up, worn, overlooked, could still hide a story worth six figures. And for collectors, that's the magic, turning something ordinary into something priceless. We've now seen four incredible pennies, each with its own secret history. And the best part? The fifth coin is the one you'll want to see most. It's the climax, the one that could deliver the biggest shock of all. So stay tuned. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss what could be the most unbelievable wheat penny of them all. And here we are. The final coin in our journey, the 2009D Lincoln Bicentennial Penny. At first glance, this doesn't even feel rare. After all, it's modern, it's copper-plated zinc, and it's a coin you might have seen in your pocket change not too long ago. But don't be fooled, this little penny carries a story so powerful that it shocked collectors around the country when it was first released. In 2009, the U.S. Mint celebrated the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself. For that milestone, four different reverse designs were struck showing Lincoln's log cabin birthplace, his early years, his professional life in Illinois, and finally, the U.S. Capitol to mark his presidency. The Denver Mint struck millions, but as always, the devil is in the details. Now, the coin we're holding is in fine condition, circulated, with some light wear. In this state, it's worth only face value to most people. But here's the twist. Certain errors and pristine examples of the 2009D Bicentennial Penny have sold for absolutely shocking amounts. For example, doubled dies where the lettering or design elements are doubled can push this coin into the thousands. And then there are off-center strikes and missing layer errors where the copper plating didn't properly cover the zinc core. One dramatic missing layer 2009D sold for over $7,000, but the real fireworks come with pristine, untouched coins graded in the highest mint state. Imagine a 2009D bicentennial cent with fiery, flawless red luster, graded Ms. 69, or even Ms. 70 by a top grading service. Collectors compete fiercely for these, and prices can soar into the tens of thousands. The finest known pieces, with dramatic mint errors layered on top, have been estimated at values reaching into the six-figure range, and some experts predict that unique examples could one day fetch $500,000 or more. Now think about that. A penny you could have pulled from pocket change as recently as a decade ago, now commanding the kind of price that could buy a luxury home. It's almost unbelievable, but that's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know which coin, whether it's a century-old wheat penny or a modern bicentennial issue, might turn out to be a hidden fortune, and that's exactly why we do this. Because whether it's the 1946 copper cent, the wartime 1944 steel rarity, the toned 1947D, the mysterious 1955D, or this modern 2009D bicentennial penny, each coin carries a story, a piece of history, and the potential to shock the world with its value. So the next time you come across a penny, don't just pass it off as small change. Look closer, because that tiny coin in your hand might just be worth more than you ever imagined. Thank you for watching Worth Coin. If you enjoyed this journey through rare Lincoln pennies, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss the next video, because we're just getting started uncovering the treasures that might be hiding in your very own collection.